Not
Not
in the
So
world, but
before
in
we
Alabama.
dive off into the bug stuff, let's acknowledge the obvious. It's been a while.
Google Peskies Pest Control. Put your bugs on the run. Call 205-470-8161.
Welcome to another episode of Peskies Pest Control podcast here in Birmingham, Alabama with Michael and Travis. We do this podcast as a community service for Birmingham, Hoover, Vestavia Hills, Mountain Brook, Helena, Alabaster, Pelham, and all other surrounding areas. Hey, so today here on the Peskies Pest Control podcast, we are going to be talking about my favorite subject, roaches. Not just any roach, the largest roach in Alabama. Not in the world, but
before we dive off into the bug stuff, let's acknowledge the obvious. It's been a while.
Yes. I completely just forgot about that. Yeah. Yes. It has been a while.
Yeah, but for those of you who do listen on a regular basis, we apologize. But it has been a while. Things have been wild around here. The bugs have been nonstop, and so we had to take a little hiatus, and now we are back.
Yes. It's a lot harder to do everything, than you'd think. So.
Right. So anyway, American cockroaches. Let's talk about them.
Yes. So American cockroaches are in your house. It's becoming fall, and they are going to find their way in through holes in the wall, holes in the brick, pipes, vents, tree branches touching, the side of the house to let those guys bypass any products or anything like that to get into the house.
I mean, I haven't seen any in my house. You said they're in my house.
Well, you just said you had a smoky brown roach in your house. So,
that was off record. Okay? We didn't want to talk about that. That was off record.
Much harder to control. Much harder to control.
Yes. So yeah, the American cockroaches, and I tell a lot of customers this, the American cockroaches like to live underneath pine straw, underneath mulch, vegetation areas. So they're very typical to see them around the outside of your house where you've got landscaping, and they like to eat under that dead and decaying, that layer of dead and decaying vegetation up underneath all of that landscaping material. So they can make a nice little home for themselves. And typically they don't usually want to come inside, and they don't usually want to infest a person's house. But there are exceptions in the fact that sometimes they mistakenly wander their way in.
Or they just weasel their way in because it's a nice dry spot and it's been raining for 5 days straight.
Right. And I also think too that sometimes with gaps, cracks, and crevices around the house, whether it's doors, windows, anything like that, that you end up, at night, you got light coming through those gaps, cracks, and crevices. I don't think that helps your cause either when trying to keep them out.
No, 100%. I can remember as a kid, I was watching TV one day with my window open, and an American cockroach flew right in and landed on the TV and scared me half to death.
Going straight for the light. makes you think about those commercials that they used to have where you're sitting there watching it. It looks like a regular normal commercial, and then this bug goes and crawls across the screen, and it always looks so real, like you want to throw something at the TV.
Oh, I know.
I wonder if they were ever liable for someone throwing something at the TV and breaking a TV, and had to pay for somebody a new TV.
Oh, I almost broke my TV, so yes, I can see that. But no, that's a great point. Turning off your lights at night, that's going to stop any attraction to really any bug. I mean, spiders, because you've got your flying insects flying around that light. But roaches, that's our topic, so we'll stay on topic. Roaches typically like to infest the lower portion of a house, like crawl space, or I'm not going to say infest. They like to gain entry to occupy. Yes. They like to gain entry to crawl spaces, basements, like I said, the underside of houses, due to, higher moisture content, much better survivability.
Yeah. So we know where they like to go. We know what they're searching after. Let's talk about a couple things that maybe, you can do to prevent that.
We've talked about it before. Try to keep your bushes, your branches, anything touching the roof line or the side of your house, because you can put down product after product if that roach is crawling a tree and that tree is hanging the the roof or touching a window, or it's just going to be easy access for that little guy or little girl.
Right. They can circumvent right over anything that you or that your pest control company, that your technician applies, if they just have a route to go around it or over it.
Yeah. So, I mean, like we're talking about roaches right now, especially American roaches, because it's fall. That's when they start really getting into people's homes. Again, the pine straw around the house, just keeping everything nice and dry, trying to divert water away from your house is going to stop them from feeding on that organic matter up under the pine straw and around the mulch.
Right. And some other common entry points that we can talk about sealing up, HVAC entry points where your HVAC lines go into the house. A lot of times there can be gaps right there. You can also seal up around vents. If you have a crawl space, you can seal up around those vents. But you don't want to block any airflow. You want to make sure that you have good ventilation and airflow inside the crawl space too. Gaps and cracks around plumbing. I know sometimes we see houses where there's some master drains that are exiting the outside of the house that maybe aren't buried underground, or have some other kind of plumbing or drainage pipes coming in and out of the structure somewhere or another. So sealing up any of those access points can keep you free from American cockroaches as well.
Thank you for listening to the Peskies Pest Control podcast here in Birmingham, Alabama with Michael and Travis. If you have any questions about what we've discussed today, please give us a call at 205-470-8161 and ask for me, Michael Wienecke. I'll be happy to speak with you anytime. And don't forget to share this podcast with your friends and subscribe to us on Apple, Amazon, Google, and Spotify. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Google Peskies Pest Control. Put your bugs on the run. Call 205-470